guys, my name is Izzy and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, this is my survival guide to getting to camp in 2025. And this week we're going to talk about the buyer's remorse I've noticed popping up in a lot of group chats I'm in. I think post-Christmas and getting into the new year, agencies are focusing more on getting you to the next step, sorting your placements and your visas. And people are really starting to feel the weight of all that money spent over New Year's and the holidays. So if that is you and you're kind of feeling like, oh my God, what am I doing? Did I make a mistake? Here's 10 reasons why you should not go to camp in 2025. So camp's really expensive. You have to pay a lot of money to get out there. You have to pay a lot of money to do the program. There are hidden fees along the way. You have to pay your agency fees. You have to pay your police check. You have to pay your actual visa fee, and then you have to buy your flights. And then once you get there, if you get there a little bit early, you have to pay for your accommodation, and then you get to camp, and on your weekends off, you have to pay. So there are all these hidden fees that, if you think about it and if you look into it, yes, you already know they're there. But if you don't, they kind of pop up and you're like, oh my gosh, I thought I was spending £400 and I'm actually spending £2,000-3,000 on all these little things along the way. So yes, it's expensive, but 100% it is worth it, and you are going to thank yourself for putting up that expense. Reason number 2, you're going to be exhausted. Camp is 24/7. Even when you are off, you are not off. You are thinking about all these things and you're surrounded by people. If you are introverted at all, that can be really hard. I am a kind of shy person and sometimes it gets really overwhelming for me. So sometimes camp is a lot and it's a bit too much for me. But if you choose to still go to camp as an introvert, you can do things like take yourself on a hike. I got into running because of camp, because there are a lot of times that you can't just take yourself out of a situation and you are still surrounded by people. You won't necessarily have your cabin to yourself, so you can't just sit in your cabin because your campers are there, because other counselors are there. So choosing to go for a run, I get away from people, I can listen to my music, I can chill out. Otherwise, times that I can get away from myself, calling my parents is a great way to decompress. Calling my partner, whatever it is, choosing a time to be just by yourself can really help. Camp is also exhausting because you are like one activity after another. There are times you'll only have an hour off a day. The worst time I ever had is we were scheduled to have a really bad storm, and my camp didn't really give out the information to counselors because they didn't want the counselors to scare the campers. Totally fair. But I had 1 hour off only that day, and I was super excited. I was going to call my girlfriend at the time and be like, hey, like, how's it going? We talk to each other every single day. So I was probably 3 minutes into my break. Like, I'd gotten up, walked outside to one of the safe zones where we could use our phones, and they made an announcement that everybody had to go to, it was like our cabins or something. And I ended up missing out on my period, like my break period that day. And I was so frustrated to begin with. And then I realized it was a major storm and I was like, I'll get over it. So there are times like that where you literally just don't get a break for XYZ reason. And then there are times where you are so close to your break, but you feel yourself getting just a little cranky and a little overstimulated that you have to learn to push through. It's going to teach you patience. It's going to teach you endurance. If you've ever worked in the service industry and you have had a customer that just wants to tell you you're wrong or swear at you, you understand that level of patience. And sometimes that's what it feels like being a counselor, but you have to deal with it, and you are going to grow from having that level of patience. Having to deal with campers who are overtired and cranky, having just, you're exhausted, sometimes your hormones are kind of out of whack because of different levels of your period, whatever it is, learning to push through those emotions, it's going to make you tough, it's going to build up your endurance, and you are going to be so patient because of it. Reason number 3 not to go to camp is that you're just too old. I 100% think this is fake. I have worked with 29-year-olds who are counselors. I've worked with 18-year-olds who are counselors. No one cares. No one asks. I mean, campers do ask, but like people you're working with don't ask, and campers don't care. They're gonna ask, but still think you're like 62. It's whatever. Like, what actually matters is if you are a little bit older, be willing to step up and hang out with campers and hang out with people who are a little bit younger than you and just go and try and have fun. It is all a state of mind. It's about what you put into it, not about how old you actually are. Reason number 4 not to go to camp is that you are going to be in the wild. This is a little broad, but there are concepts that you are going to be without electricity, that you're going to be sleeping in just pavilions without beds, or that you're going to be surrounded by wild animals. This isn't completely false. There are camps that don't have walls and you'll be sleeping in some kind of pavilion. There are camps that you will see wild animals, but there are camps that have AC and you rarely are going to see an animal that isn't like a horse. So it depends on what kind of camp that you are going to. If you are concerned about certain things like that, you shouldn't be going to necessarily a lot of those camps that don't have, like, if you aren't willing to go rustic and you said no to rustic, they're not going to hire you because you're going to quit. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of their time. They're not going to bother. But there are rustic camps. There are camps that you are going to be more likely to encounter a wild animal. You aren't really going to encounter a bear. That's not a common thing. I've met one person ever who went to camp and encountered a bear. Not 100% sure he wasn't lying to me. And B, he lived, like, he was hiking, like going into the wilderness when he found the bear. It's not very likely. So don't stress too much about that. But also, getting over your fear of bugs is awesome. And it's really not that hard to deal with bugs. I say that as an Australian and always been the bug girl who just goes and gets rid of the bugs. But I don't think it's that hard to get over your fear. When you have 11 screaming girls being like, get rid of it, it's pretty easy, I promise. Reason number 5, you're definitely not qualified enough. This is a huge myth. As humans, we are taught to be super humble and don't actually brag about all our super cool talents. Don't do this. Don't be that person. Especially if you're a woman, you are taught to be humble and not brag about yourself. But camp and applying to camp, it's so important to brag about yourself. It's so important to be like, no, I know how to do this. I can teach soccer. I can work with young girls. I can be a great role model. I'm really good at climbing. I hike for fun, so I can teach people how to hike for fun. Whatever it is you're passionate about, you get to go and teach that to young people. You get to help them learn to love different things and have hobbies. In high school, my French teacher came up with a quote that someone asked her. They were like, Miss, what is a quote you should live by? And she spent like a week thinking about it and came back to us and she said, to be interesting, you have to be interested. And I think that applies so heavily to being a camp counselor. To be an interesting and good camp counselor, you just have to be interested. You have to be interested in your campers, you have to be interested in their hobbies, and you have to be interested in whatever area your specialty is. So if you're a general counselor, you just have to be interested in whatever activities that you are doing. I don't care if it's the third time this week you've gone to canoeing and you hate canoeing. Pretend to be interested. That is what being a counselor is. If you are teaching archery and it is your 7th archery lesson of the day and you cannot get the campers to hit the targets, be so interested in how it is and like in your campus life story and hype them up and be so excited about it. Whatever it is, be interested, and that is how you are going to show people that you are so good at what you are doing. Reason number 6 is you are worried about getting outside of your comfort zone. This is 100% something that I think people are worried about, and it goes into like being afraid of embarrassing yourself. Please don't be afraid to embarrass yourself. Embarrassing yourself is part of the human experience. You should try and embarrass yourself more. It's fun. Once you learn to stop caring about it, it is so good. But when it comes to camp, pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone and being comfortable, being uncomfortable, camp is going to get so much better for you. Camp is going to get better for your campers because you're the one who's like getting involved in the middle of the dance circle. Like, you are the cool counselor because you're kind of you're a little silly, you're a little goofy, but you are getting involved, and that is what your campers want. They just want to see you getting involved. They want to see you getting involved. They want to know their counselor has their back, but also has the best spirit. And generally for Color Wars, it will win you extra points. So 100%, just like participate whenever you can, get involved, get outside of your comfort zone, because that is where you grow. Number 7, you worried you won't fit in and you won't make friends. Camp is such an easy place to find friends and find people you fit in with. It's just about finding that ability to get outside your comfort zone, ensuring that you are being nice to others. And the biggest one is using that 5 seconds of confidence to go and walk up and say hi. Be the person who's willing to get outside their comfort zone. I have found my best friends in life by using the 5 seconds of anxiety, be like, all right, just go do it. And just breaking the ice. From there, it's so easy to start a conversation, but you just need to be like, hi, my name is Izzy and I'm from Australia. And then they can, and you can, and a conversation starts going and it gets so much easier, but you just reach out. As for fitting in, as long as you are being your true, authentic self, you will fit in. The only thing that doesn't fit in at camp is being a fake person. No one has time for it. But if you are willing to try and make friends, you're not bringing the drama, you're not judging others, people won't judge you. People don't care. It's that simple. Try it. Push yourself. You can even try it in your normal personal life. Walk up to someone new at work and introduce yourself, or at school. Get over your anxiety because it's not that deep. Reason number 8 is you're going to miss out on things at home. This is 100% true. You are going to miss out on things at home. My first summer, I nearly didn't go because I was dating someone at the time and my sister-in-law was pregnant, and I didn't want to miss out on being in a relationship, and I didn't want to miss out on meeting my nephew. I wasn't in a relationship anymore when I went over. My nephew was born. I didn't get to see him born. I also got to do some really cool things. It's up to you which is the more hard thing. What if I stay at home, I miss out on going to camp, I never get to go to camp, I never get to experience this? What if I miss out on somebody's birthday, on being with my family? What if I miss my family while I'm out there? There are so many what ifs. You have to pick what is going to actually positively affect your life, what is going to leave you with more what ifs in life. Pick your heart. It's up to you what is gonna make you happy. I chose the path of going to a different country and trying something new. Sometimes I wonder how my life would have turned out, but you have to pick which one you think is more important. But the world's going to keep moving either way. Time is going to continue. It's what you choose to invest your time in. Are you going to go for the adventure, the new, the scary, what if, or are you going to stay at home in the safety? It's up to you. Reason number 9, you won't get any time off. Like I mentioned in number 2 with you're going to be exhausted 24/7, there are times that you only get an hour off and it gets cancelled because of some thing that's out of people's control. So there are days that you might have to work for all day. But there are also times that you get an entire day off and you get to go and travel a new place with like spending barely any money. Like you buy lunch and that's it. There are times that you get the night off and you and your friends can go out and go to a bar. Or you just go to Walmart, or you go and you get dinner. You get to do all these cool little things with your time off. You only get little pockets of time instead of big periods usually. So the camp I worked at in Maryland, we would have from Friday between 5 and 6 off, and we wouldn't have to start work until Sunday at about 11 because we ran Sunday to Friday. The camp I worked at, that was 5 weeks straight, we worked a little differently because it was COVID. So instead of giving us a day off, they would give us Wednesday mornings and Sunday evenings, or Sunday mornings and Wednesday evenings. And I was fine with that. We weren't allowed to leave camp because it was COVID, but they will do over the 7-week period. It's like you get 5 days off, like 5 full days off. Generally, you don't want to do more than that. You don't have a heap of money, so you don't want to go and spend it all at once, but you will have built-in time off that you can go and talk to your friends. You can go and do little activities. So there is definitely time off. You will get time to relax. It's up to you how you want to spend it, but please, 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 please don't spend every single time you have time off going out, getting drunk, doing crazy things. Make sure you build in rest time, whether it's having a facial, reading a book, just sleeping, because you aren't necessarily going to get the most sleep every night. So you're definitely going to have time off for your adventures, but you're also going to have to use some of your time to make sure you have the ability to reset as a human. And finally, reason number 10 is it's just too hard. Don't go to camp because it's just too hard. This is true. Camp is one of the hardest jobs in the world. You are away from your family, you're away from your friends, you are surrounded. Camp is one of the hardest jobs. You are gonna struggle constantly, you're gonna be overtired. I think from about day 2, before the kids even get there, you are overtired. It is so much manual labor. It is exhausting. It is hot. It is sweaty. It's also the best job in the world, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I've done 7 summers. I'm busting my butt to get back for my 8th summer. It doesn't matter what camp you go to. That's not true. There are definitely people who don't fit certain camps. Please do your research into what camp you're going to. I loved all 3 of the camps I worked at. I was so beyond blessed to end up where I did. I'm looking for new experiences so I can expand my horizon. I'm trying to find a camp where I can learn and grow. But please do your research to find the right camp for you, and you're going to be so beyond happy. That is it for this week's video. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed my little silly don't go to camp this summer. I enjoyed making it. And if you have any more questions about any of the things I said or any of the reasons not to go to camp or to go to camp, please leave them down below. And on that, I'll see you in next week's video.